is Savage Insomniac Radio. I'm going to leave it at that because if you have too many words in there, it just gets too hard. Or I might switch back and forth. It's really hard to say. Probably will. It's the kind of person I am. I noticed when I was listening back to some of my previous episodes, as I kind of have to do that because, well, when you have cognitive delay, that's what happens. Plus, I've got a really racy mind. What I mean is I'm kind of constantly thinking about stuff. So I was listening to episode 3, which is on indefinite dating, something I call indefinite dating. And in there, I talked about how I wanted to talk about dating in a different thing. And I do. Not really. Because I find it to be a really, really unpleasant thing. And it takes me back to when I was 18. It really does. And I was sitting there talking to a gal. I can use her first name. I think her name was Kelly. And she and I went to school together. We took social psych together. But we were sitting in her living room one day in Seattle, and she was talking about her boyfriend, Mitch. I don't like that I know his name. I'm not a fan of it. Why am I knowing his name this many years later? I didn't even want to talk about him at the time. Anyway, she was talking about Mitch, and I was talking about another person. I'm not going to use his name because it's just too much. Mitch wasn't a very good guy, but he wasn't the same as the guy that I was around, suffice to say. So, I never met Mitch, really, but I feel like I did. So, I was sitting there, being wise like I was, about 18 years old. Maybe just around turning 19, actually. Nope, couldn't have been. I think I was 18. Yeah. And she was going on and on about Mitch. And Mitch was this guy who, he was the classic 20, 21-year-old guy. He had no interest in anything about Kelly except for probably getting into bed with her. I know this, as I heard a number of stories that she had to tell me. Everybody feels that they need to tell me their intimate details of their life. I just want to let you know, you don't have to. I'm sorry. It's getting to be a bit much. I mean, I don't want to see it even on the big screen necessarily, so I don't want to necessarily be up close and personal in my friendship and relationship, they're the business of my friends and associates. Yet I find myself on the receiving end of this type of discussion a lot. And being single, inside a house with my daughter, not dating, I'm not interested in hearing about your times, good or bad. As rude as that might sound. I'm sorry to say that. But sometimes I can be of help. And I kind of lost my train of thought because I went on and on telling you that. So now I'm going to have to get back to where I was. But I'm thinking that where I was along the idea of just dating. And how it's not pleasant, this whole environment. And Kelly, Kelly and Mitch. Kelly and Mitch.
That's what you're talking about, yeah.
So it was at this time, which was a long time ago. It was before Sarah was born. That I told her that it seemed that we spent an inordinate amount of time talking about Mitch and the other guy. And that these two people seemed largely uninterested in us, or is it disinterested? Perhaps it is. Disinterested in us.
Uninterested works too.
I don't know. But disinterested in us regardless. They did. And they seemed not just disinterested, but slightly abusive. In the case of mine, I'll just go ahead and leave it with the word abusive. Her boyfriend, and that's why I'm not using her last name, managed to, at her age, which was about, it was 19 as well, he happened to give her the human papilloma virus. But we were still talking about Mitch. Of course, I should point out that once one encounters the human papilloma virus or a virus like it, that person feels horrible They feel internally usually not well, and they blame themselves, and they feel gross, and they stay with the person. They try. They make unrealistic attempts to stay with the person. But Mitch was not interested. And at 18, I knew he wasn't interested, and I knew that my, whatever you want to call him, wasn't interested. And I saw a number of people dating people who weren't interested, and they're trying, even myself. Even as I was exiting my relationship, I was trying to go out with this guy named Alex in Seattle. I mean, I wasn't trying to go out with him, I was trying to ask him out. I mean, realistically, I only asked him out because somebody kind of threatened to ask him out for me if I didn't, right outside of the place where he worked. So, but it was another deal where he was saying yes, but his eyes were saying no. So I have a question. If you're interested in somebody who isn't interested in you, or they don't return your affection, this is a terrible thing. Unrequited love, it's horrible. I don't even know if I can call it love going in the one direction it's going. But if it's bad in the beginning, so if the person's like, I don't want to spend time with you on the weekend, I don't like you, I don't even want you to sit next to me, I don't want you to be near me, and they're pushing you away, is it going to get better in 1 year or 2 years or 10 years or 20 years? Because I don't think so. I think if a person's not interested in you now, as a romantic interest or whatever you're hoping for, they're going to continue to not be interested in you. And I'll go one step further. I think they're actually going to make your life a living hell because they're not going to be interested in you. And it's going to show. And you're going to be in a who knows how long relationship with this person who does not want to be there. And it may be, because we have so much, it may be a good idea to go to a person who is really good at technology. You're probably going, what the hell? It's a relationship. Yes, no. I think you should seek out somebody extremely good at looking at what a person might look like down the line. So maybe just do it 1 year out, 5 years out, 10 years out, 20 years out, 30 years out. Have them do it. Did you seen this, right? Sun damage. They show how the person will look. I don't like it. Do you like it, Sarah? Those pictures? To show how it will look in 20 years? I don't like that. But I'm not asking you to do it for negative stuff. It's not because of the person's looks per se. Who gives a rip? Again, that won't help you. If they're making you miserable, if they're good looking, not going to help you. That's not my point. If you have someone produce a digital photo of what this person might look down the line, you'll get an idea of whom you are going to be sitting with in your humble abode.
That's true.
Down the line. You may want to get a good look at that picture if you're having problems now, because it's only going to get worse. Now, there will be the occasional person with whom you started a relationship and they didn't want to be in one, and then they're like, oh wow, I recognize that she's the one, and they're going to run to the airport. You should go to the airport, and then they can run there and find you. What I mean is replicate, like Julia Roberts type films, where Richard Gere realizes in Pretty Woman how important she is, and then it's a fairy tale ending, right? Or Runaway Bride, another Julia Roberts film. She just keeps running away till she finds the right guy, I think. I can't tell you how many stories I've seen where people are running. I'd like to see just one story where the person realizes one day prior and then they walk to the fucking airport. I know you might be saying, why would somebody walk to the airport when the person probably hasn't left yet? But they wouldn't know that, right? Because the person that they were rejecting or whatever, and they just realized the person was going to go to the airport the last time they talked to them, but the flight was like maybe the next day. So they just decided, you know what? I could take an Uber. I could take a Lyft. I could get into my car. But I'm going to walk. And actually, if you go up I think it's 205, I believe there's an area you can bike. up and walk up. Isn't there, Sarah?
I believe so.
I don't know that you can go
there's
all
a
the
bike
way.
path that runs along the
But just imagine
hilltop.
somebody trying to meet me at the Portland International Airport.
In a way, it's better.
And then they're going. Don't just have them walk. Have the boring part. Go up, Delta Airlines, American Airlines, United Airlines. I'm looking for this person. Oh, we know where she is. She's down at this gate. You're the one who wasn't interested, right? And now you're going to do the fairy tale ending. We'll help you there. Honestly, I'm tired of it. And you should be too. Stop before you start. My mom told me something when I was a kid. I wish I had listened. But it was hard to because I had a lot of patterns already established. She said, wouldn't you rather, it was when I was first dating, just to kind of put it in context. She said, wouldn't you rather spend your life with someone who was your friend and that you loved rather than someone that you loved who was not your friend? And I want to use friend in a very specific way here, okay? Like friend doesn't mean just somebody that you're kind of interested in that takes you out places and stuff. And you go out with, you give stuff to. That's not a friend. It's kind of a friend. But I'm talking about a person who loves you, respects you, cares about you, is interested in you, thinks you're good the way that you are, you know? Not someone who just showers you with gifts. That's, let me tell you something. Actually, people who shower other people with gifts in the beginning of a relationship, it's one of those first things where I'm going, ooh, it's a bit of a red flag. That's just me. Okay, I have really bad luck. So if I approach somebody and they're giving me a bunch of gifts, I got to really step back and ask myself why they're giving me all those gifts. And I hate to bring in narcissism into this, but you will always see that. Well, you won't always see it. I'm sorry. Some people will be just jerks right out, but you will usually see this beginning phase, which is they call it love bombing. I'm not the big fan of that, but it does show you. They'll just kind of like tell you over and over and over and over and over again how great you are, how wonderful you are, and then maybe give you. I remember one boyfriend I had, he bought a wild orchid, and he put it into my refrigerator, and I came in, and I think everyone in the house knew about it, and then I was told to go to the refrigerator or something, and I opened the refrigerator door, and oh my God, it's this wild orchid. And you know what? I did think it was pretty, but I think that's a colossal waste of money, and even at the time I did. But love bombing is a very annoying thing. I actually prefer to call it excessive valuation. It's overvaluation. It meets with devaluation, which comes afterward. It will be coming. I don't know when you get with these type of people that are narcissists, but it will be coming. Make no mistake. Like the tumbleweed in Oildale, California, the love bombing and overvaluation will come. And by that time, you're already committed, you see? Because you're like, this person loves me. He respects me. He or she, or they. And then all of a sudden, right when you just thought all that, they will just come and knock the crap out of you with words. And they'll say the opposite. If you were beautiful, you'll be ugly. If you had a wonderful physique, you will be a horrible looking person, perhaps beyond even what you would ever imagine. If you were the love of their life, you will not be the love of their life. You will be the opposite. They will tell you this. It's not a fun situation. And then you'll find yourself like Alanis Morissette saying, Did she tell you? I gotta remember the words now.
Did you tell her you told me?
Go look up the words to this. I want to get it right.
Okay.
Because I actually know the words to her songs. I think it's like, does she know how you told me you'd hold me until you died? Till you died. But you're still alive. You see what I mean? Because he moved on, right? And actually, let me tell you something. You're lucky if a narcissist like that moves on, even when you don't feel it. But when they move on, your stomach hurts. You're sick. You don't feel bad. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't feel good. You're not like, or maybe you do, if you're the right type of person. But if you're the wrong type of person, and that's most people, when they've been gaslit and mistreated, they actually want to stay with this person. They're committed. That person isn't. And I kind of want for people who are in the dating age, prime dating age, or people who aren't and just out there dating, to ask themselves what they want. Because really, do you want misery for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years plus, and you start multiplying times five? Do you want it? And I think the answer is a very certain no. I actually think it is. But when we get into this roller coaster of a relationship, you just can't see it. And by the time you come down, like on the roller coaster ride, and you're like, oh, so maybe I can get out. Ugh. It's back up again. Can't get out. And you start coming down, your stomach's not feeling so good. And then you get down to the bottom. And I'm not saying it's a good place to be, but you're like, I got to get out of this. And then it's up again. It's not a good deal. And I see so many people doing it today. I see a lot of women who leave relationships that re enter relationships over and over and over and over again. I am with you. I feel you and I understand not being able to extricate yourself from something that is not good for you. I do. But I'm trying to figure out a way to educate people so that they do not make the same mistakes. Because the thing is that we all like to believe that somehow the next generation or our own children or whatever, our nieces and nephews, or who knows, maybe we're mentors to people that are our kids, that they're going to make different decisions than we made. But I'm not convinced of that. I think that the decisions that are going to be made are going to largely be based on patterns in your household, patterns in society, and they will be dictated by something that, unfortunately, your words will have very little control over unless it is stopped before it starts. And that is based on a lot of experience. So I could be wrong. You might meet your true love. Your true love may actually tell you lots of stuff about you that's very kind. And who knows? But I'm telling you, those are the fairy tales of the movies. And I'm going to stop that right there. I'll see you next time.